Digital marketing agencies are not specialized at all, not productized at all. They are bespoke, and it is an operational nightmare. My highest achievement for that is I got $100,000 off someone's payroll for this useless community manager. Why do you need a $100,000 a year resource for that?
What's up, aspiring CMOs? Today, I'm going to talk to Kieran Browning, an efficiency coach who will help your team speed up and get rid of bottlenecks. If you feel like that your team could be doing more, but something is just not clicking, stick around. This episode is definitely for you. Kieran got some eye-opening strategies and tactics on how to speed up the operation team within a marketing department, and he will also help us understand why so many marketing companies struggle to fixate on a niche and cause so much operational nightmare. Kieran will walk us through the 3 key stages of operation that many of us have not figured out yet.
Those are all things that no one knows how to do and wouldn't have learned how to do until they actually do them.
If you are relying on tools like ClickUp, Notion, or Airtable, it might just give you an illusion of operation and efficiency, but according to Kieran, it all depends on something way deeper and way more logical than just a simple tool. And let's get into the episode. Hi everyone, we are back on the Aspiring CMO podcast, and today I have Kieran Browning with me. Hi Kieran, how are you?
Very good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So for some of the few people on this planet who don't know you, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Kieran Browning, and I help digital marketing agencies and digital entrepreneurs free up time by improving their systems and processes.
And how long have you been doing this, by the way?
Since about early 2020, full-time as my own thing. And then before that was operations manager at marketing agencies for a couple of years. And before that, worked as a CRM consultant.
Wow. So you've been in the online agency world for quite a while. I'm kind of on that journey right now. So I'm doing project management at SEO Notebook. And even though my title is project manager, sometimes it overlaps with operational management. And
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of created the workflow from little to nothing, and now many people run on that. But I noticed there are a lot of problems, and it's almost like operation is something that you can never solve perfectly. There's always something going on. So I'm really excited to have you on because your experience can be translated into agencies, marketing businesses like e-commerce businesses, and just in general, like operational logic. So I'm super, super excited to have you here. Before we dive in, could you tell us like a prime example why you are needed? So like any past example in the past where with your client or in your previous company where there was no operation set up and even the CEO didn't know that there was no operation. So like, could you walk us through on that memory?
Well, look, if the business owner, so I mean, every single job I've ever had really was working for a business owner who was very good at what they did technically in terms of the marketing or the whatever else, but organizing that in a way that could efficiently be scaled and wasn't overwhelming and wasn't chaotic and wasn't confusing and wasn't difficult was, too much, required a skill set that they just don't have, right? Creative people aren't naturally organized. No one's really naturally organized anyway. But yeah, helping them sort of figure out all the minutiae and all of the BS that gets in the way of running an efficient, tightly run business that doesn't require them to work every second of every hour of every day of every week, and instead can just have a business that can grow not entirely with them. They can take days off. There aren't constant fires and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. What was the most chaotic business you've ever worked on or worked in?
Yeah, so I worked for an e-commerce store. I was their operations manager. They sold this nonsense product that it was one of these, I don't want to give it away too much, but they sold a product that was extremely popular during COVID. It was like some spiritual related thing that people thought would help prevent them from getting sick, and does absolutely nothing like that at all. Doesn't work. But, sold that, drop shipping, and they had 3 different things at the same time that if any of these things happened, the whole business is bankrupt, right? So they were faking their Facebook ad reviews, which I didn't even realize you could do that. But when they get caught, that's it, right? Facebook ads was their only channel. You mess that up, you're done. And 2 other things that were just like that. And I was like, hey guys, We need to fix this. What are we doing? Right? No standard operating procedures, no task management in place, who was supposed to do what, no organizational chart, no clear roles and responsibilities. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? How are we doing it? How are we systematically solving things? No goals, no KPIs, no clue, hopeless.
Wow. But did that company end up surviving? Like, it just sounds like a very sketchy
No.
product.
No, I finally had my, I don't know if it's comeuppance or I can't remember what the word is, but about 6 months after I just quit, I was like, this is insane. The owner was like, yeah, you were right. Like the things that you said and which we then didn't do. It's so I pretty much just folded the business. So that was extremely frustrating. But it's frustrating for everyone. Like being in a business that is chaos sucks for everyone, not just the operations manager who's come in to be like, all right, are we going to do anything about this? No. All right, sure. So I hated that so much. Yeah.
But it sounds like that the people did not even want to improve. Like, it sounds like it was bad staff as well, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Look, I'm coming in and I'm pointing out the warts in the business that I didn't cause and that someone did. Who wants to take responsibility for that or ownership of or even like sort of address it? But, if you don't fix it, everyone is fired. So I get it. I mean, it's a terrible reason not to improve a business. But look, it's stressful and it's frustrating being in a business that's a knife's edge away from bankruptcy. It is not an environment that maximizes performance. It's not an environment that encourages the highest quality decision making that you possess. So, it's bad, but yeah, there's a lot of things wrong.
Okay, so you basically quit that business and that kind of didn't work out. But what was like another chaotic business that was kind of successful at the end? So like, what was the process there briefly?
Yeah, so I was working for another digital marketing agency that was kind of all over the place. Again, was run by a husband and wife who probably shouldn't work together. And, I was almost a marriage counselor as a coach when I was working with them. And yeah, again, no standard operating procedures, no task. They weren't even using a task manager, just email, not even emails. They were using Skype messages to communicate. And their idea of a task assignment would be like, what about this? ? And then that wouldn't get done. And then the owner would be like, why didn't they do it? And it's like, because you didn't tell them to do it. And also you didn't explain how to do it or anything like that. But, after working with them and ironing out, all right, what's the best, but like of the 15 different things that you sell, what's the one thing that's the easiest to scale and provide and deliver? Focusing on that. Of the 5 different types of audiences that you work with, what's the one that is the easiest to work with? Could you systemize out the lead generation through that? And then can we start documenting these systems and processes so they can be optimized? They ended up doubling their prices, doubling their revenue, in addition to that, and being able to increase their team and actually be able to finally, not burn out, which was like the big thing that we were preventing, and actually like take some time off and sort of establish half of a lifestyle business accordingly.
Hi, if you listened to this far, thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or my YouTube channel. If you have any feedback for the show, please let me know on the Aspiring CMO Podcast social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, or send me an email on my website. Now let's get back to the episode. Wow. Okay. I love how you I don't think you only do operations, you also help them with just business decisions. So it's more like a business management coaching what you're doing, I think.
Yeah, it's probably like 20% that.
Right. Honestly, I feel I resonate with you so much because my current company, like, it was running on Slack instead of Skype. So, so I'm like, I don't get it. Like, why do we have to manage our task in a messaging tool? Like, in a messaging tool, I just want to ask you how you are, if you can attend the meeting or something, but not really to like keep track of tasks and stuff. Which brings me to a little bit more technical question. Like, as a operational management coach, consultant, efficiency coach, do you have like a set number of tools or like a set stack of tools that you use, like ClickUp, Notion, Asana, blah blah blah, like anything?
So I want all my clients to have a task management software. I don't care which one they're going to use, and clients generally are not going to change. Though people are allergic to changing their task management tool. They're like, I hate Trello. I was like, all right, use Asana. I hate Asana. All right, use ClickUp. whatever you want to use. We're not doing anything crazy with it anyway. And then have a document management system, either Notion or Slab or Google Docs, I think is fine. Try not to mix them. Don't use your document management as a task manager. Don't use your task management as a document manager. If you're juggling more than 50 leads at a time, sure, use a CRM like Pipedrive. Whatever you got is probably okay, and just any communication channel. Discord's actually, I think, the best, but I don't think I've gotten anyone to use it. But Slack is good. WhatsApp is not that good, but if you need to use that, sure. But yeah, just really a communication channel, a document manager, a task manager, and maybe a CRM. But the tool is not the thing that's holding you back, right? No developer will ever tell you that, but like the tool's not the fucking problem. The process is the problem.
People is the problem, right? Like if I also see that sometimes, like half of the team is on board with the task management tool, half of the team is just not, and just that creates not really violent conflicts, but it does create some sort of conflict, and the communication tool is often mixed with the task management tool. So for the listener, so basically if you have a messaging tool like a Zello, Messenger, or Slack, sometimes they use that on the task management tool, so they would just start chatting on the task management tool like ClickUp and Trello and Notion, and it goes back and forth. What's your tip to like avoid that?
Yeah. All right. So this needs to come directly from the business owner or a really powerful, very good operations manager. You should not assume that that operation manager can pull it off. This probably has to come directly from the business owner. So the rule is, do not ever assign anything to anyone outside of the task management software. Don't even tell it to them in person or in a meeting. Everything is assigned in a task manager. End of story. And anytime you have any question or any comment about anything that already has a task, you add that as a comment in the task manager. You do not put it in a Slack message or something. And anytime anyone ever messages you about anything that there is a task manager about, don't reply to that message. Reply in the task manager. Then people have to use the task manager that way, and they have to use the communication channel that way. Right? So if the owner can just like stand firm and use it properly, then everyone else will. But the number one reason why the staff aren't using it in the first place is because the owner's not using it that way either. Right? So the owner creates the mutiny by doing that, which is, the biggest problem.
100%. I think a lot of owners who listen to it probably find themselves guilty. And if you guys are listening to it, don't gaslight yourself that you're not. You're probably creating the culture that way. So, but I'm guilty too. Like Min, who is going to edit my podcast after this, she's gonna tell me like, Annie, why don't you just put it on the task management tool and why not on Slack? So I'm 100% guilty as well. And I think it's human nature, right? Like it's just so much easier to just message someone, but
it's not easier at all. But it's a habit. Habits are hard to break. You need a good reason to break the habit. And if the reason's not that good, because it doesn't make that much of a difference, then why would you do it? But once you're operating at scale, it does make a difference. But it's not easier to message someone. You're just typing a thing and clicking two buttons, or you're typing a thing and clicking two buttons in a task manager. It's easier. It's exactly the same.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Do you have any personal favorite, or you don't really like choose?
Yeah, I don't really care about tools. My general gripe, so my background in CRM really taught me how overrated tools are. And so we were doing Microsoft Dynamics CRM, which is, don't sue me, a garbage CRM anyway. But ultimately, really anything, a useful concept to understand about tools is, if you want a knife, do you want a knife or a Swiss Army knife? Like, what's better for knife work? A knife that's just a knife, or a Swiss Army knife that is 7 other things? It's the knife. The knife is the better knife. If you want a document management tool, what's better? The thing that is just a document management, or the thing that is 17 other different tools, all the same thing, right? It's the document manager, right? I want an all-in-one tool. They know that you want an all-in-one tool. That's why they advertise an all-in-one tool. All-in-one tools are garbage, right? Are their developers better than the developers of this other company that just do one thing? Your developers are better at doing 5 things than those developers are doing at one thing? I don't think so. So whatever you've got that'll already do, use. And if it's complicated, well, then are the staff going to be trained to use it? Probably not, right? Which is why I like Google Docs, not because it's better than Notion or Slab, it's worse. But your staff already definitely know how to use it. So it is better, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So tools don't matter as long as people use it and keep it as simple and keeping it as accessible as possible. I mean, yeah, the Google Docs is free, right? Like unlike Slack or Notion, ClickUp, all these project management tools are just going up prices anyway. When I started using it, it was $5 per user. Now it's like going up to 10, so it's like just
Mm-hmm.
doubled in I think a couple of years. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so anyone listening to it, don't get married to an idea. Just try it out, see what works, but stick to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the most common misconception about tools is people who do not have a really well organized business just yet. And look, you don't need one initially. No one's expecting you to have this crazy systemized business, particularly as a startup, right? It's quite useful to have one, but like that's normal. Right? In the bell curve of organization, you're in the middle. You're not at the bottom. You're in the middle. They want something that's perfectly integrated, that's all in one screen, that has dashboards and clear everything, and everything talks to everything. I'd say that's completely pointless, literally pointless. Nothing should have to talk to each other. It doesn't matter. Your SOP doesn't have to talk to your task manager, doesn't have to talk to your communication channel, doesn't have to talk to your CRM, doesn't have to talk to your account management software. Like the integrations, the automations are usually a complete waste of time. It's like, it's
Wow.
fine, right? Remember, the
Interesting.
technology is just like a cork board that isn't on a cork board. The technology really hasn't improved that much. It's fine.
Okay. As a also like a project manager, marketing manager person, like kind of put off some pressure off of me. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to learn Zapier. I did my first Zap and I felt like I'm a fucking IT person
Yeah.
now, you know. But but then it forces me to think like, oh my god, then I have to automate this and I have to automate that and stuff. And I forget my team. I forget to talk to my team, which is part of operation management. I think is people management too, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more valuable than anything I've ever learned.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking to people, managing them well.
Yeah.
But yes, is people management also part of your what you do, or is
A
it
little bit. Yeah, I mean, there's processes for managing stuff. How do you give feedback? How do you assign tasks? How do you review what you've done? How do you assign projects or delegate responsibilities? And how do you delegate in general? They're process oriented sort of things. But, if you are bad at leadership, I'm probably not going to be able to help you with that. But if there's just these minor tweaks that we can make to the process and how you run a team meeting or a one-on-one meeting or a project review meeting or something like that, or a brainstorming meeting. Those are not difficult to help clients improve because it's just, all right, what's the step-by-step process for how to run this meeting?
yeah, awesome. One
Yeah.
thing though is you mentioned misconceptions, right? What other misconceptions do digital marketing businesses have around systems and processes?
That everything has to be perfect?
Hmm.
No, no. So you can make get all your the 99-1, not even the 80-20, the 1% of operations that contributes to about 99% of the value is get assigned to all of your staff, including yourself, to Loom record themselves doing all of their regular tasks in the next month, and then take the transcript from that Loom recording, put that into ChatGPT, not Loom, into ChatGPT, ask it to convert that into a standard operating procedure, and then put that in some folder. And then anytime anyone makes any mistake on anything, the first question is, great, do you have a standard operating procedure for that? No, cool. Make one. If you do, great. Share your screen, show me, can't find it. Okay, let's make it easy to find. Can find it, great. Let's read it. Okay, yeah, I mean, this process sucks. Can you improve this process the next week? Great, do that. Process was good enough. Step 7, make the file a JPEG. You made it a PNG, and then the client told us that, what the hell are you doing, sending us the wrong file format? We lost you as a client. How do we prevent that next time? Can you follow the standard operating procedure? Yes. Will you? Okay, great, done.
That's basically like a decision making tree right now, what you just
Yeah.
described. Yeah, but I think a lot of people get into perfectionism and also a lot of it
Yes.
organizational charts. And for
Mm-hmm.
example, right, like if I tell something to another team member and they don't think I'm their leader, right,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it, like they just that decision tree is not going to get started because there's no clear organizational chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you also help your clients to put together that company hierarchy?
Yeah, in like 9 minutes on like the most ugly draw.io diagram that doesn't have clear arrows. It's just like, all right, who actually runs this thing? Okay, and then who reports to them and who reports to them. But do they really, right? These people, why are there not, why are there 12 people under this? Like, is that actually what's going on? All right, in this team, there's like 5 people who do the same thing. Could we not make a team lead like very, 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 very quickly? We're not making this fancy chart to display to the other staff, right? That send your staff to operate the organizational chart. One, they do want to know. Two, they have no interest in working in a flat organizational system. That is some Swedish nonsense, right? People are like, who is my boss and who do I reports to me? Please, God, tell me, and sort of convert it into teams and stuff like that. But like, it's not a long. It doesn't take long. It's like a 9 minute task. Like, all right,
Exactly.
great, send this, go, done.
Right. I actually sent. I think I was a little bit stressed with work, and I realized that there was no organizational chart and stuff because I recognized that there were more than 10 people reporting to me, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah, that'll do
that
it.
that's just too much. Like, this is not fair. Like, what's going wrong? So I had to draw it out, and I sent it to my manager, and he's like, oh, this is kind of that's not how it. Okay, let me redo this, and then he kind of did it. We still have to improve on it though, but at least as whoever listening to it, right? Like, you can just like draw it out. You can just get a pen and paper and then do it. Yeah. Let's talk about productization. Because I'm all for productizing agencies because I like to repeat the same thing over and over again and get money and then scale. But one problem I ran into is like these high paid agencies. So they do custom stuff. And their objection to productizing is that I cannot productize because each and every client of mine is very unique. Every single one of them sell different stuff. So we can't repeat the same thing from client A to client B. So how would you, I don't know, tackle a problem like that? And you
All right,
still
so
want to
this,
get, of course, the same high value money, of course, at the end.
yeah, so this is the biggest problem in digital marketing. This is number one. So digital marketing agencies are not specialized at all, not productized at all. They are bespoke, and it is an operational nightmare. If you implement 5 different solutions for 5 different industries, you have 25 times as many standard operating procedures, many processes, many tasks, many problems, many headaches, much training that is required, many skills that are needed to deliver all of that, compared to someone who just did one service or 2 services for one industry or 2 industries. Right now, the solution to that is have enough lead generation and marketing and sales to be able to get 25 times as many clients in just for 1 or 2 or 3 of these services. But if you're unwilling to do that, if you're too good for marketing, it's like, no. We just sort of coast on referrals badly, and then the winter months feel like we're going to go bankrupt and then do nothing to fix it. But if you refuse to do marketing, then sure, we have to be bespoke, because what are we going to do? Turn down a client that's in a completely different industry that wants a completely different thing? We can't do that, right? So it's actually a marketing problem that creates this operational nightmare. And it's a marketing solution to do it, but to solve it, you need to actually do marketing for your marketing agency, which a lot of bespoke, broad, full-service digital marketing agencies are just unwilling and unable to actually do. And that is not a thing that I've managed to convince many clients to fix at all. And so I stopped even talking about it. I was like, all right, look, do you want this productized? No. Do you want to do any type of lead generation campaign actively? No. All right, cool. Show me your ClickUp.
Interesting. So, okay, to summarize, I'm not sure if I fully caught it. So basically, if I'm this agency and I've been serving 5 different solutions to 5 different clients, then my solution is to get enough leads and then only filter them if I have that service. Is that what it is? So let's say I'm specialized in just podcast management or something, right? I don't want to do email marketing. I don't want to do website building. I don't know. I just want to do just podcast stuff. Then
Yeah. So I mean, initially, like incrementally over time, So don't just dump all of the clients that are outside of it, but incrementally, like just pick what is the best service I can provide, the most easy to get the best results with the least amount of headache that I can delegate the cheapest. It's the best, right? What's the highest return on effort solution service that I can provide? Great. What is the number one best industry client target audience that I can provide that for? Cool. Let's do lead generation just to that audience and draw a campaign. And then incrementally, now 10% of your new prospects will be just for this one problem, for this one solution, this one industry. And then 20% will be from that, then 30%, then 40%, then 50%, then 70%. And then maybe 70% is enough, right? But just let it flow from the marketing that you're doing to get your like, all right, these clients I can deliver to 10 of these clients. What would take me one bespoke client, which is quite like normal. Like you'll make significantly more money from productizing your services than from bespoke. Bespoke is an incredibly expensive way to help clients. And also the clients don't really give a shit that you were too stupid to productize your service and therefore have to invent everything on the spot and make lots of mistakes and not have any sort of reliability and not know how to preemptively prevent a bunch of fires and problems and have a quick turnaround time. Like there isn't that much of an advantage to doing it.
The turnaround time I can resonate with. Also, unforeseeable problems, because if you do something for the first or second time, there's always more and more new problems coming through, and it's natural. But like, of course, the client just wants results at the end of the day. I think that was a great tip. Also, like a very long-term strategy. What I hear is like just lead generation alone, but for like a high-ticket client, it always just takes so much longer to achieve. But at least we have found a solution to how to solve these all-in-one marketing agencies, or how do you call it? Like 360, 180 marketing agency.
Full
I don't know.
service,
Full
yeah, it's like
service.
cool. So you're not a specialist, great. So you're not better than any of your competitors to this thing, great. So you don't have a target audience, great. It's like, all right, what is your competitive advantage again? Nothing. What's your capacity to charge higher prices? Nothing. How do you get staff to do this cheaper than your competitors to do this? You can't. How do you train staff efficiently to do this? You can't. How do you efficiently manage your staff? You can't. Like it's the worst type of business to run, and it's the most common digital marketing agency to run, and there's not a goddamn thing I can do about it to sort of prevent prospective clients from doing it, because it's like I refuse to do marketing to one niche. I refuse to do it. I'm not going to do it. We're just going to continue to juggle the referrals and the random work we do and do whatever it takes to sort of fulfill this client, as many headaches as that requires. It is a nightmare situation. Not a
It is.
nightmare, but it's just a huge pain in the ass.
It is. It is. Like I can tell. I recognize that in our agency, for example, there was this really nice client that we just kept doing the exact same thing, and they were happy with the results. And I'm like, why can't we just do it like 12 times? You know? But I found out later on from my CEO, was like, oh, but that client doesn't really pay that much, so we should not do that. I'm like, okay, your call. I'm just observing here as someone who runs the teams. Like, yeah, we have an easy time with this, and they are not only us having an easy time, but the client is having an easy time, because they don't say much. They just like, okay, cool. But ideally, that I would love to like productize in the future, as because it kind of translates into SOPs and people, the same or similar type of people as well, and they get along.
Yeah, and if you have a client that's easy to work with and pays a lot for a problem that is burning and is very urgent to solve, and they have a lot of money to solve, like why would you choose the most complicated project to go after? And a productized service providing could require 1/10 as much human resourcing, like literally 1/10 the HR budget to provide than another one that was bespoke. Like there's no upside to this. It's just delusion that is used to justify a lack of marketing.
Yeah. One, I know we talked a lot about just SOPs, operation, but one cool conversation you and I had at the SEO Mastery Summit at the opening party was how you approached a client and you immediately said if that employee should be fired or not. What was that?
Mhm.
Could you like tell the audience like how do you decide how to fire someone immediately? Because often people keep people around. That's it. It's heartaching to fire someone, but you have a very easy time with it. How come?
I'm pretty disagreeable temperamentally, and I don't have that much empathy for people who are incompetent. Right? I'm not nice to myself. I'm going to be nice to someone who sucks, right? So, I have a good personality for this sort of thing. With clients, I'll ask them in the like initial consultation, great, if you had to fire someone, who would it be? And sometimes that question comes quite easy. It's like, probably this person. All right, cool. Why? All right, maybe it's well, they don't do the things that they're supposed to do, even though I don't explain what they're supposed to do very well. There's no standard operating procedure. It's like, no, that doesn't seem like a massive problem. But sometimes, whatever it is, just seems like the red flag jumps out at me. And then I'll be like, cool, let me get on a call with them to get information on how I can help them. But really, it's a spy mission. I'm trying to figure out is this person full of shit or not. So I do this to operations managers quite regularly. I go on spy missions to find out if they're incompetent, and often they are. Be like, great, can you show me? So you guys got standard operating procedures in place? I'm like, yeah. Oh, great. Can you show me one of them? It's like, all right, like any of them? It's like, do you have a single standard operating procedure? Do you even know it? Like, great, like, do you know what they are? Okay, cool. Do you got any KPIs? Yeah. It's like, great. Can you show me one? Well, as such, not real. Okay, cool. Can you show me your task management software? Yeah, okay. If I'm this employee, how do I find my task? It's like, all right, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. All right, so that becomes abundantly clear. Now, my first line of defense is not to immediately fire staff. I'm like, all right, well, what do you want from this staff member? Like, what's the desirable outcome here? Cool. What's the plan for getting to that desirable outcome? And if that doesn't work, like, get rid of them, replace them. So most recently, I encouraged someone to fire their operations manager, who wasn't really an operations manager. They were a project manager who would almost improve an operation and then not. Let's almost document our processes and then do nothing. Let's almost have an organizational chart and do nothing. Let's almost set quarterly goals and then do nothing. He was paying her $4,000 a month for nothing. Like he didn't even have to replace her because there was nothing to replace. She wasn't doing shit. Right. So $4,000 off the payroll. Thank you very much. But so my highest achievement for that is I got $100,000 off someone's payroll for this useless community manager. Her job's completely SOP'd out. Like, why do you need $100,000 a year resource for that? For community management? So, yeah,
That's
that was a
insane.
nice accomplishment of me.
So probably that person, right? That person was doing the job, but never really documented it so that somebody else could take it on. Is that right? But was
well,
that
so,
community
well,
manager actually doing something like
yeah, I
community?
mean, she was doing community management, but like, that's not a difficult thing to do. Like, I read the standard operating procedure and I was like, why do you need a senior salary employee to pull this off? Like, and I've spoken to this person. They're an idiot, right? They're so unbelievably wishy washy. And I can, as operations person, I know if you're good at thinking because I'm asking you direct questions and trying to gauge. But I ask you a question, your answer has nothing to do with what I just said. You don't know what the point of your own role is. I'm very sneaky in how I like get this information out of people. So, typically they don't have their role documented at all because if they did, they would be competent. Typically that's the situation. It's like, great, let's document as much as we can and then shit can them and, free up the money. And hey, you want to keep paying me since I seem to be delivering value? Cool, let's do that. But yeah, I mean, if I wasn't this, I think I'd be an Axeman. I think that would be exciting for me.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I run into these problems as well. Like somebody would be doing the job continuously, but there was no documentation, and then
Mm-hmm.
I had to restart the team from zero. But actually, no. Let me just walk you through my drama. So basically, that team was not delivering for 2 months. So there was like 2 months of like undelivered stuff in our
Yeah.
agency, and the person who was about to get out of that team also did not document, and I had to start everything from zero, like learning the service, creating the service, making sure that all the delayed things were delivered, plus the ones that are coming in. So it's not like we delayed 2 months and now it stopped. It was delayed 2 months and then there was the next coming one, the next coming one. It was a nightmare. But it was like a situation like this for me just recently,
Hmm.
and there was nobody in place, and even the person who was hired to do that ended up being this like not delivering anything. That's hence the
Hmm.
delay,
Hmm.
and no one could know what he was doing, but honestly it was very simple. He didn't do anything, you know.
Hmm. Well,
uh
yeah, that's if it's not documented, you don't know. Maybe they're not doing shit, and like that's one of the reasons staff aren't documenting their stuff to begin with. If you knew just how little I did, you'd fire me, and a lot of people are having that concealed from them. And I find out, it's like, what does this person do? It takes them 3 hours to do that. Get rid of that person. Like
but it's insane,
that's
like,
exciting.
to me, that the task management tool is pretty black and white that way, right? But also if you don't do anything, people also see that because nothing is happening. So I don't
Yeah.
get that logic. I don't understand that logic. To If I don't document, if I don't do it, then people won't find out that I'm not doing it. That's just a messed up logic to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just comes from incompetent project management, operations management. Someone who they're in calls, they fill out reports, they draft marketing campaigns, and they look like they're doing something. But whoever their boss is doesn't know enough to know that this person isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, or isn't really doing. There's a vague tracking of performance. And if
Yeah.
your task management is garbage, then yeah, it is hard. Like what the hell is everyone actually doing each week? Like you just don't have that insight. And yeah, the owner is sometimes in like a hell of a state. They got 15,000 things and just stuff can slip through the gaps for a long time. Like entrepreneurship is hard.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. Many things to me comes out like a top to bottom problem though. So like
Yeah.
if you're not used to, for example, reporting to someone and the owner is not expecting just a few people to report to them. Again, back to the organizational problem, like the organizational chart. If you just don't have that in your head or like at least written down, it's just, yeah, there will be problems like that at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And look, it's an impossible task. All right, so you set up you're good at marketing, good at making websites, you have an eye for design, you can do that. You do that for your friend, they're pretty happy. They refer you to other friend, they're pretty happy. You go to some community event, that other people are happy. And then you end up making websites as a freelancer and then kind of it grows organically from there. Organic growth, by the way, is the worst type of growth because it's crazy and chaotic. Planned growth is way better. And then, all right, now I have to manage a VA. I don't know how to manage. I never
Mm.
learned how to manage. Management is like 15 different skills that no one ever has. You just do it badly and you figure it out or you don't. And then I've got account management for clients and how do I do that and how do I onboard them and how do I report to them and how do I communicate with them? How do I manage expectations? Those are all things that no one knows how to do and wouldn't have learned how to do until they actually do them. And then there's the finance part, which you just have to figure out. And then there's project management you have to figure out. And so there's just like 400 things that you have to do to figure out when you run a startup. Like it's an impossible task. It's a crazy task. And there's no wonder that most, new businesses fail in the first year and the ones that succeed fail in the second year, most likely. Like it is hard. It's the nature of the beast. It's really difficult. There's so many different skills. And for marketing agencies, you can be really good at marketing and it not matter because it was the operational skill set you didn't have, or the account management skill that you didn't have, or the management skill that you didn't have, or the finance skill that you didn't have, or the cash flow management skill that you didn't have. Like you need all of them. It's like what's more important, oxygen or food? It's like everything is important. If you don't
Exactly.
have any of these things, you die. And businesses need like 9 things. It's crazy.
It is. It is. Um, but at least you have today have showed us at least how to solve the operational side and also how
Mm-hmm.
to solve very difficult problems that most digital marketing agencies face, which is
Mm-hmm.
how to productize, but at the same time handle bespoke clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think I really enjoyed this episode, and we're coming to the end. But I do have one last question, which
Mm-hmm.
I ask every single guest on this show, which is if you were to go back in time What advice would you give to your younger self?
I'd probably suggest to myself to immediately become like a time management coach or something like that and just start from there, or become like a GTD consultant or something like that. Like, do this immediately. Don't go to university. Don't, oh, I have to get this job first. Like, this is the skill set I have, and start this business model way beforehand. Get the reps in, get the licks in, and just continue to accrue human capital just in like this one skill set. Because if you once you have 10 years of experience in a thing, like, you're pretty much set. But before you get to those 10 years, or before you get to the first 5 years, like, it's so hard. So the earlier I could have started, the better.
But did you have all those skills already, like operational skills to start that early?
I mean, I read Getting Things Done when I was 20. I am extremely organized by my personality type. I'm extremely conscientious, like 99th percentile for orderliness, making schedule and stuff. But no one has operational skills are habits, really, and no one has them until they have them. And so to learn them, and then learn which ones do make sense and don't make sense, and when to implement them, when not to implement them, how to implement them, and what tools to implement them with. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and a lot of trial and error, trying to figure out. There's lots of knowledge to accrue, and how to apply it. And I didn't know back then that it was going to be process optimization. The thing that I started doing when I was 21 as a CRM consultant, that would be the thing. So I'd be like, hey man, process optimization's the shit. Start doing this immediately now as your full-time thing.
Okay. I think one also lesson I'm drawing out from this answer is like you naturally know what your natural personality strengths are, and then you drew out like a job or a profession from it, which not a lot of people do.
I mean, naturally, I mean, I paid several different personality tests and went through them and was like, oh, I thought I was introverted. No, 99th percentile for extroversion. I'm extremely disagreeable. That is a strange personality contrast. People who are very disagreeable and low in conscientiousness are typically in prison, right? So dodge that bullet, conscientious. And yeah, I need way more social harmony than one. And I'm so orderly that I probably can't have housemates or a dog or a baby, which is, I feel stoked about knowing that. But, I don't know. I thought I was a pretty self-reflective person. Apparently not, right? So you don't want to overestimate how well you understand yourself. DISC as well. That was super helpful for me to understand.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much for joining the show, Kieran. And if people would like to find you, or how can they search, if they would like to talk to you, how can they find you?
Yeah, so KieranBrowning.com, or on my LinkedIn, Kieran Browning, or Facebook, Kieran Browning, or Instagram, Kieran Browning1. My YouTube, Kieran Browning Consulting. I post a bunch of content. And reach out. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about processes and organization. Most people don't, but I like it.
I like it too. So that's why awesome to have you here. So thank you for joining again, and take care.
All right. Thank you for having me. This is great.